And for more on this decision by the US President to send the National Guard into Washington, I can welcome Kethevane Gorjestani, Foreign Affairs Editor and former France24 Washington correspondent. Good morning, Kethevane. Does Donald Trump actually have the authority to take control of the DC police and send the National Guard in like this?
Well, let's start with the National Guard. Unlike what happened earlier this summer in Los Angeles, the U.S. president cannot federalize, where there's still that debate whether he can federalize a National Guard over the objection of a governor. In Washington, D.C., Donald Trump, the president of the United States, acts as if he was the governor of Washington, D.C. So he has control of that National Guard. For context, the last time he mobilized the National Guard was back in 2020 during the protests after the murder of George Floyd. But he did not, for example, mobilized the National Guard in Washington, D.C. During the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. So he does have that authority. When it comes to the control of the D.C. police, it's a little bit less clear. D.C. is a federal enclave, and the U.S. president has a lot of authority, and D.C. local authorities have limited autonomy. It is an independent police force, the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, but under the Home Rule Act, the president can take over control of that police for 48 hours in the case of a public safety emergency, and that 48 hours can be renewed, can be extended for a maximum of 30 days. After that, the U.S. president must ask authorization to Congress, which would need to pass a law, but it is an extraordinary step because it has never been done in the past, not in 2020 during those protests, not in 1968 during the Washington, D.C. riots. So what we're seeing here again is Donald Trump sort of testing the limits of his authority to militarize big cities in the United States, whether it was Los Angeles or Washington, D.C. now.
Now, Trump is invoking a public safety emergency, arguing that crime in Washington, D.C. is out of control. How accurate is that assessment?
Well, that assessment is widely exaggerated. Yes, crime is still a problem in Washington, D.C. It's still high. It's higher than other major capitals in the world. But as we heard in the report, the numbers have gone down. We're at a 30-year low for violent crime rates. It's nowhere near what we had in the early 90s when D.C. was dubbed the murder capital of the world, if you will. There was a spike, as we heard Mayor Bowser say, in 2023, but since then, all of the violent crime numbers have been going down steadily in 2024 and now in 2025. Carjackings, homicides, assaults with dangerous weapons. And some of these numbers were actually higher towards the end of Donald Trump's first term. So the question that a lot of critics have is, why are you federalizing the National Guard? Why are you taking control of the police now and not during your first term? And there's several reasons for that. One is a sort of personal reason. Donald Trump reacts to visuals, to news, and there have been some personal news where he's seen one of his former advisors and staffers from the first term be killed just last year. And again, there was a staffer that was assaulted earlier this year. For decades, this has been a sort of conservative mantra that cities are not, democratic cities are not well run, the law and order, a sort of a symbol. And this is a sort of show of force, because as we saw in the report, this is not about putting federal law enforcement to sort of police the streets of Washington, D.C., at least for now. They're simply there to show that they are taking control of Washington.
Thank you very much for that, Kethevane Gorjestani.